So greetings, this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and this is a quickie review of a movie that I saw weeks ago, but haven't been in the movie review studio for weeks. So yeah, we're back. Yeah, The Meg. Basically, I never reviewed it. I forgot to. Um, the Jason Statham fights a giant shark. Basically, it's a megalodon shark. In the beginning of the story, he's fighting the shark, which attacks a nuclear submarine, and he escapes. He's the only survivor, and then everyone blames him for it on the other sea base thing. And there's another sea base in off China's coast somewhere, and there's like a research team there, and then this other thing shows up, and somehow they're at the Mariana Trench again, looking at this the trench leaking, and there's other sub goes down into the water, and blonde lady gets trapped in the down there in the bottom of the ocean, and the shark comes back, and he's got to be called in to rescue her, even though like time and distance doesn't have any meaning in the story. So like even though if that's the Mariana Trench, it would take them like days to get there, she would have been dead. But they seem to imply that that it's like hours. 24 hours we have to save them. Oh, like how? I don't know how that would happen. But oh well, it's silly. He fights a shark, so there you go. It's sort of a cross between Jaws and Captain Phillips. Like somebody in the studio thinking this was Jaws versus Captain Phillips, and a little bit of that Deepwater Horizons movie thrown in. Wow. A little bit of Leviathan in there too, but only a little modern. Deep Star 6 in there too. Well, the bends is not an issue, even though it really would be. They would all hit the bends. Yeah. And they break through the alleged wall 11 miles down and go through this made up like scenario. So somehow the shark wouldn't be exposed either to the bends. He would come up and you'd be fine. Then they make this supposedly impenetrable shark tank out of like stuff, and they show that off. So they reference the show Shark Tank quite a bit, and the others show that's Shark Week as well. Those are two different things, but they seem to combine them. It wasn't a bad movie though. It was just sort of dumb. Just sort of, it's dumb. It's fine, I guess. Yeah, I really did mean to review this earlier, but other circumstances happened. But yeah, basically, you've seen it by now. Spoilers. He defeats the shark by using the fin from the. They go out to the beach at one point. They get to a beach where the shark attacks, which is in the trailer. And there's, for some reason, a plot device of this annoying little fat kid and this lady and the mother telling him to go swimming and stuff. And I don't know why that's in there, but the kid's in it, and this is a fat kid joke, I guess. And that's why it's in there. So he's like chasing him off, and yeah, so somehow that gets mixed in there with some people on a party boat that also encounter the shark, and there's a little precocious little Moppet girl who Statham befriends, who's the daughter of the widowed lady, and they're going to get together. The widowed lady and him. They don't actually show any love scene though. They just imply it that the mother got with him. They didn't actually show that because that would have been cheesy. It's probably in a deleted scene. Yeah, I can't imagine like buying this film for deleted scenes and interesting moments, because it's a popcorn movie to put on the background on your Blu-ray player and just sort of let play and not really watch it. Kind of like Deep Star 6 was. It's not so bad it's good, and it's not so great it's great. It's sort of They could have called it Meh, the movie, but that would have confused it with that other movie with the Yes, and this will be a movie review or story, a video, 486 on the channel. There's going to be others, of course. Yeah, so, um, but yeah, let's see, yeah, I got nothing else about it. I mean, it was, he's a megalodon shark. I know it's a megalodon. I'm gonna fight it. And he like spears it with the top of the ship at the end and defeats it. And so the other sharks swim in and they go after it, even though it's like there are that many sharks on the beach. Like, wouldn't they be attacking all the surfers, people, and all that, and eating them? They would be. It's a beach in Thailand, I guess it was. So they go to. So they're racing all over the world, and like all of the time it takes for people to get where they're going doesn't make sense because they're just instantly there. It's all over all over the Asian coast, Southeast Asian coast. Yeah, silly movie. Yeah, it was taking. At least it didn't take itself too seriously. It was like, okay. Of course, it was odd that like the part in the trailer where they apply the shark hit the window to the underwater base. Why that didn't instantly like crack the glass and kill everybody? I know it was supposed to be strong glass, but they implied that it was breaking. So, yeah. And why was it? And of course there were the twist. There's a twist. Of course, there's two of them. They kill one, and then the other one gets revenge. So it's like Jaws' revenge. Yeah. No. Yeah. So it's kind of like Sharknado a little bit. but not really. Anyway, so that's my review of The Meg, which is not named after somebody's ex or whatnot or anyone. Maybe the director's ex was named The Meg. It's kind of mean to make a movie about your ex director, person, whoever you are. It's clearly about your ex director, not about a shark. Anyway, I don't know the director, so that's probably what it is. Anyway. 7 minutes. Arr. Yeah, that was maybe. This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katzer, and this is a quick review, another quick review. Yeah, didn't see the previews for it, came in late. I've seen the Happy Time Murders, which is, I've already watched reviews of the movie, so I kind of knew what it was about. Kind of knew that it was sort of like Meet the Feebles meets Roger Rabbit. Sort of, yeah. I would say it is, and it's also Chinatown. It's not specifically Roger Rabbit, though. I would say it's Who Censored Roger Rabbit, which is the book Who Framed Roger Rabbit was based on. And in the book Who Censored Roger Rabbit goes to Eddie for a case to solve the case of a murder at his studio, and he's actually guilty of the murder. But he's doing it to have the private detective get off his trail. He actually wants to frame the detective for the crime. The original book of Roger Rabbit is quite grim and dark, and Marx Cards had produced a spoof of the Mickey Mouse serial stuff called Mickey's Inferno. You'll never read it, but yeah, because of that title was a 50s comic book series, which you didn't know about, Mickey's Inferno. But needless to say, he couldn't publish that because of that title. Anyway. Yeah, and he was essentially doing Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Well, this is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the original book that it was based on. It is, pretty much. Yeah, except it's Mickey Mouse, and Bugs Bunny is the bad guy, and he's actually in on it. But yeah, so the premise of the story is that a detective puppet, in potboiler film noir style, detective has-been puppet and Melissa McCarthy were partners and in a police partners, not sexually, and they were and he had accidentally shot a civilian during his last battle with a puppet bad guy. and the premise of the story is that it's a rated R raunchy puppet comedy thing, more similar than Meet the Feebles. I would say it's more like Let My Puppets Come, the 45-minute puppet spoof of Deep Throat that came out in the 70s. It's more like that. That was a fucked up movie. And it's really okay. This movie's not for kids. No, not at all. It is rated R. It features some critics have mentioned the infamous sex scene in which the puppet mole chick who shows up, who's basically like Jessica Rabbit. She shows up and she's called Sandra. And they must have seen another of someone else's. Maybe Brian Henson had an ex that was called that. So they spoofed her. They wouldn't know about any of the other people that have exes named Sandy. So I don't know, but but I like what the Meg, and the Meg is clearly modeled after somebody. This one is too. But we just don't know who that is. Brian Henson did have an ex-wife, so anyway, but I don't know him personally or nothing. I'm just saying. I'm sure she was not a murderer of puppets. Somebody's killing the puppets from the Happy Time show. It's kind of like the Muppets. Kind of like in Meet the Feebles, they had a variety show, Meet the Feebles. In Meet the Feebles, it's kind of similar. In that one, the Coke was borax. In this one, the Coke is sugar. That's pretty funny. In this one, when the male protagonist gets with the horny mob mole chick named Sandy, he ejaculates silly string cum everywhere. It's really, really fucked up. Oh. Yeah. It does what Team America with puppets did with puppets, a lot of kind of puppets. Almost 20 years ago, this movie goes there and shows it. Just, look, we're going to show them having sex. We're totally going to do that, and we're just going to do it. And we're going to deliver the goods. We're going to deliver fake puppet spooge everywhere. And when we shoot the puppets and kill them with guns, they blow up and the stuffing flies everywhere. And that's supposed to be their guts flying everywhere. Which they did rip off from Ted, but that's okay. Yeah, so it's a lot of things. It's probably something Peter Jackson would have done, but he probably passed on it. Because Peter Jackson did Meet the Feebles. He probably well, this is too much like mine. I'm going to do that. Crikey. But yeah, yeah, it had some really, really funny scenes that were messed up in it. Much better than the Ted movies. It turns this sort of potboiler detective puppet who looks like a cross between the Count and Mr. Feely from Sesame Street, with this black lieutenant guy who looks like the Furley from Sesame Street. And McCarthy, who looks like she could be on the Muppets. Anybody else probably with this material probably wouldn't have done it very well. There's also a couple of other cast people that are infamous in it. It's messed up. You'll see it. It's been out for a while, so it's probably going to be out of theaters. So I went and rushed over and saw it before it's gone. Actually, I missed 2 weeks of movies, 3 weeks, and 486 videos on there. So and then we're going to do the Robotech thing. And so I went to see this movie and expected to see something dumb that wasn't exactly funny, but it actually has some really funny scenes in it. There were 3 of us in the audience. A guy that looked a little like Brian Henson, actually, and another guy. And that's one of the local theater critic people that's just left over. His review will probably pop up. There was this weird guy in there wearing a cat shirt. That was me. That was Kal Kat. I was in there watching the movie with him. So when he puts up his channel, he'll be like, oh, that's who that was. He's not very famous. But yeah, so yeah, because usually I see first run movies, but I waited on these two. Let's see, coming up, I think In a couple of months, will be Aquaman and Bumblebee. No, in December. uh, let's see, Captain Marvel in March. Yeah, so yeah, the Bumblebee movie, they did that right. They got one of that cast in it. So. I didn't direct it. I was not responsible for that movie. Haven't directed any mainstream movie. Kind of artsy, weird, and obnoxious. Yes. And they don't get any revenue when they. But yeah, I would say it's like so. So this movie is like who censored Roger Rabbit, the book, because the bad guy in it is clearly the mole chick, and she's knocking off the other people. Spoilers, because she's the daughter of the guy that got shot in the past after the show ended. The 90s, whenever that happened. It was in the 90s. And she wants revenge. Well, apparently in this universe, the puppets are humanoid in some way, and they reproduce and they get older. There's a kissing cousin scene in which these two cousin puppets had children. They go to this place called Adam's Rib, and it's like, it looks like the Boar's Nest from the Dukes of Hazzard. I think it might be the same set, although a similar set. It's probably not the same one. And clearly they know Kal Kat because they put that on the title. It's odd. I didn't give them permission to do that, but they did it. I don't mind. It's fucked up, but okay. but yeah, maybe it's another one that I do. Could be. Yeah, these. I did not lend any voice talent to this affair. Didn't know anything about it. Probably all speculating. Oh, he's probably in. That's why he didn't come on. He didn't want to talk about the puppet movie. He was saying, oh, no, I was not in the puppet movie. Not on the IMDb thing. On the IMDb page right here. I'm not listed in the cast. I was not involved in that. Nope. I'm not that famous. Yeah, well, the critics seem to hate this movie, but actually, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's not as bad as they say. The critics are, oh my god, it's awful, it's hideous, it's bad. I would say if you liked The Muppets and Sesame Street as a kid, and you're an ex-gen person, and you thought of the same kind of messed up stuff when you hit puberty that Brian Henson clearly did, this movie would appeal to you. You would think it was funny, because you'd be like, oh my gosh, Muppets are actually behaving sick and twisted. Like kind of like Meet the Feebles was for Peter Jackson, who was probably around Brian Henson's age. Peter Jackson and Brian Henson. They're a little older than us, but they're still in that early X-Gen extravagant. Yeah. So they're still there. They're still X-Gen. Or late baby boomers. And close enough that they would, in their 50s, they would be doing this kind of weird stuff that they would think that was funny. And it's legitimate to think it's funny. I wouldn't recommend showing it to a church group, or unless they're twisted. Of course, there was a church college group that I knew of that liked watching The Room, which is a pretty demented movie too. So I don't know. But yes, but how could you not like The Room? It's a room to put movie films to perfect. Yes, it's just about life in the room. Yes. Well, this movie's about the hot boiler cop. He wants to, stop the bad guys and stoop the aliens. They did throw a Marx Cars joke in there. They said shystery bad guy. They threw that line in. So it's clearly this is based on a Marx Cars story, but it's based on Mickey's Inferno and a little bit of that other Roger Rabbit. I didn't give it to him. I must have, There's even a scene in which one of them stuck a knife thing in a poster of a guy. That's right out of the first Mickey. That's Mickey's Skanky O, which no one will ever see. It's on Mark's Cards short story. There's a lot of gross, like splatter comedy, gross stories we wrote and put on audio as well, and we're not releasing them. They have copyrighted music, and they're out, or the stories are so gross that releasing them would be like, people would wonder about us. Oh yeah, we haven't released those and get picked up on here. Anyway, that's the end of my review of Meet the Feebles ripoff.